Chapter 9. The finger flicked the finger and flew into oblivion. The pattern of King Lu's city was unfolding near simultaneously in the other 11 cities. Before and after not today's, nearly at the same time, was grasped by the Great Han Dynasty. All of the former officials were reinstated to their former positions, such as Chao City, only on the basis of the original. Added some additional positions, used to promote this time to cooperate with a group of family, people and cronies from the ancient. C. Han grabbed 12 cities. Then the Big Yuan swallowed 60 or 70 cities and pulls far worse. But also to see the two regional strength or Han is too weak, heritage is too shallow. Swallowed 12 cities and pulls. Can be said to be the Big Han territory nearly doubled. At the moment just get recognized, but everything is still false, must do our best to appease. After pacifying King Lu's city, Guhai went to the other 11 cities without stopping. And at this very moment, the previous Zhongzi sent by the city lord of Doyuan was also sent to the Doyuan dynasty capital and North Favor city respectively. Northern Expedition City. The Northern Expedition Grand Marshal looked at a folded document in front of him, revealing a hint of doubt. Outside of King Lu's city, 10 dried corpses of the prisoner army appeared. There is no reduction in the number of prisoners in the city. HMM. The city lord has done a good job. Open the probe. All misunderstandings can be solved. The Grand Marshal of the Northern Expedition had just nodded, when suddenly another report from 11 cities came in. A. Another 10 dried corpses of the prisoner army. This city also has them. Looking down at the 12 cities, the Northern Expedition Grand Marshal's face changed. If it was only King Lu's city, then it could be some kind of accident. But with these 12 cities, how did this situation appear at the same time? Something is going to happen. The Northern Expedition Grand Marshal's face changed. Grand Marshal, what's wrong? A group of subordinates were puzzled. The Grand Marshal passed the reports to a group of subordinates to read. A bizarre scene appearing in 12 cities at the same time naturally could not be a coincidence. Gao Xianzi led his troops into this area. This situation in these 12 cities and pools, could it be that the Great Jin Dynasty is doing this on purpose this time? They want to move south. The Northern Expedition Grand Marshal's face sank. All of his subordinates looked anxious. Quickly, send people to these 12 cities to investigate. And if there is any news, report back quickly. Yes. Gao Xianzi. No. We must repel Gao Xianzi as soon as possible. Notify the 6th Legion. Strike with all your might. Don't show any mercy. Strike hard. Quick, 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 the Marshal shouted. Yes. Grand Marshal, do you think it's the Great Jin Dynasty? If it's not the Great Jin Dynasty, who can it be? The Northern Expedition Grand Marshal's eyes glared. Great Yuan Dynasty capital, Mo Yaika's residence. Mo had also seen the 12 posters. Mr. Mo, His Majesty asked me to give you these 12 sonnets for your perusal. An official stood respectfully in front of Mo Yaik. Oh no, it's the ancient sea, the Great Han Dynasty. Oh, what a big appetite, swallowing 12 cities in one bite. Mo's face changed. It can't be, Mr. Mo. He, Guhai, hasn't got a firm grip on the 12 cities he's holding right now, and he's still able to snatch our 12 cities. He doesn't have that kind of troops either. That official had a face of disbelief. Mo Yaika, however, did not accompany him to say more, and said with a gloomy face, Go, I want to see His Majesty. Grand Marshal of the Northern Expedition. I've told him 1,000 times to be careful of Guhai, and he's all but turned a deaf ear. Who? Mo Yaika didn't care about the official's bewilderment and stepped out of the mansion. While Guhai was busy pacifying the 12 cities that he had just recovered, Chao City at this moment was also experiencing a major disaster. Squeak, 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 squeak. Rolling bats filled the sky, densely packed, enveloping the sky above Chaoguo City. The number was even greater than the last time Changming came. However, It was a group of black-robed men who stood high in the sky, coldly looking at Chouch City, where the Grand Formation was activated. "Gu Hai, get out and return my young master," a black-robed man at the head said coldly. Gu Hai was outside, not in the city, and a large number of officials resided at the entrance of the Imperial Palace with anxious faces. "But Shangguan, what now?" A large number of officials looked at Shangguan Trace. Last time, but Shangguan Trace a green light. It defeated Changming's endless bats. Now the Emperor is not there. And a large number of Chouch's elite powerhouses have been taken away by the Emperor, leaving only Shangguan Trace. Now how to face are. Now the number of bats, more than last time Changming's are. Chouch City. Could it be the city of many difficulties? Shangguan Trace looked at the sky coldly. "Chang family," Shangguan Trace coldly said. "Hey, who are you?" a group of black-robed men said coldly. "Changming, If I guess correctly, he should have died under my poison by now. You guys might as well look in this direction. You might even be able to find his corpse," Shangguan Trace sneered. "Daring, asshole, young master will be fine." "The young master hasn't shown up for so many days. He must have been captured by you. Release my young master. If you don't release him, we'll slaughter your Chouch City. Everyone will suck blood. No one will be left behind." Roar. 50 black-robed men, all with hideous faces, roared. The people of the city were worried for a while. What's going to happen now? What about the Emperor? Many people looked at Shangguan Scar. "You can try." Shangguan Scar's face was ice cold. Gu Hai had taken away a large number of elite strongmen and left Shangguan Trace here. It was to ask him to guard Chouch City. Shangguan Trace naturally had to stand at the forefront. "HMPH, you guys brought this on yourselves. Let's see me slaughter your entire city. I don't believe Gu Hai won't come out yet." "Humph," the leading black-robed man said coldly. With a wave of his hand, about 50 million bats were about to swoop down. Just at this moment, a flying boat suddenly flew in the distance. Boom! The flying boat flew from the northeast at a very high speed and soon arrived outside the city. There were only 3 people on the flying boat, and it was none other than the 3 of the Great Brightness King God. Chuetai was in charge of piloting the flying boat, and the Great Ming King God, dressed in black robes, stood at the front of the deck with another white-robed woman. "Great Brightness King God, that city in front of us is the Foothill God City. We've arrived." Chuetai laughed as he piloted the flying boat. The Great Brightness King God held onto the railing and eyed the distance, but a white-robed woman next to him whispered, Vampires. The number is quite a lot. Are they from the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty?" "Da Yuan. Gu Hai really knows how to find trouble." The Great Brightness King God said indifferently. The flying boat continued to fly towards Chouch City, instantly drawing the attention of the vampires and the city. "Who?" Steeply, countless bats blocked in front of the flying boat. "Who's coming? Get out of the way," a vampire shouted at once. Tell me to get out of the way." The Great Brightness King God revealed a cold smile. Chuetai, however, didn't care as the flying boat continued to be in flight. In the distance, the sound of Shangguan Trace's amplified voice suddenly came from the city. "Guests from the outside world, please be careful. Chouch City is now plagued by small devils. Wait for a moment. Wait for us to solve this group of small devils. All of you come back." Shangguan Trace's voice came out, causing the Great Brightness King God to be slightly surprised. "Oh, little devils. It seems that aside from Gu Hai, there are quite a few people with big mouths in Dahan." The Great Brightness King God laughed coldly. The group of vampires, however, glared and said, angrily, "HMPH, little devil. Ignorant little child. You think you're invincible just because you can release poison. I'll be the first to eat you later. And you guys, where did you come from? Get out of here. Otherwise, none of you will be able to leave." That vampire twisted his head and looked coldly at the Great Brightness King God. "Who are you?" Chuetai ignored it and maneuvered the flying boat to continue towards Chao City. How dare you? Things that don't know how to die. Since you want to seek death, then you'll be buried with Chao City. Go for me. Drain the blood of all of you. That vampire let out a loud shout. Squeak, 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 squeak. The vampires that covered the sky flew quickly towards the Great Brightness King God. The Great Brightness King God let out a cold laugh. However, he saw that the Great Brightness King God, standing at the very front of the deck, suddenly snapped his middle finger with his right thumb and flicked it, while the crowd of vampires were bewildered. Buzz. Countless officials and people in the city revealed a bewildered look. The people on this flying boat don't want to die. There were 50 million vampire bats in the outside world, and he dared to break in. Only Shangwen Scar, but his eyes steeply narrowed. It's him, that our peacock. However, he saw the Great Brightness King God flick his finger. It was as if a green-colored halo emerged from his fingertip, spreading out in all directions. Boom! 50 million bats, almost at the same time, gave their figures a lurch, and then exploded. Blood sprinkled all over the sky, as if a blood-red firework was blooming. Boom! All the vampires, too, exploded. For a time, the sky was filled with blood mist, gorgeous and incomparable. 50 million vampire bats, 50 vampires, all exploded, while that black-robed man merely snapped his fingers. Hiss! Countless people in the city immediately sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Who was this? One snap of the fingers, and the vast army of vampire bats all flew into oblivion. This strength was too terrifying, right? It's quiet now. The Great Brightness King God said in a faint voice, as if he had done something insignificant. Chueti's face was solemn as he maneuvered the flying boat to continue flying. Great Brightness King God, your finger-snapping skill. It's getting more and more exquisite. The woman wrapped in a white robe on the side laughed softly. The Great Brightness King God did not say much, but instead looked towards the city that was getting closer and closer. Shangwan sir. What now? An official worriedly said. It's the Emperor's guest. Open the city gates and welcome the guest, Shangwan Trace said in a deep voice. The Emperor's guest. The crowd of officials were stunned. The Emperor still knew such a strong person. The city gates were opened wide, and all of a sudden, the flying boats were allowed to fly into Chao City. That snap of the fingers just now was a shock that countless people would never forget in their lives. One by one, they looked curiously at that flying boat, slowly landing at the entrance of the Imperial Palace. Shangwen Trace on behalf of the Emperor. Meet the Great Ming King God, Shangwen Trace said with a slight salute. You know that I came. So, Mucken didn't tell me the truth back then, the Great Brightness King God said in a deep voice. It's not that I didn't tell the truth, but it's true that Mu Chen didn't know where His Majesty was, and by sending me a message, I came to find His Majesty. Please, all of you, Shangwen Trace laughed. Gu Hai, he's not here. The Great Brightness King God said in a deep voice. His Majesty is on a royal expedition to open up the border, and will return to the court in a few days. Shangwen Trace shook his head and said. On the side of Chueti's face a burst of discomfort. Since I know the Great Ming King God, then surely also know that I came. The white woman has been reluctant to reveal her identity, is just. Mu Chen did not mention me. The royal government is on a journey to open up the frontier. We heard the news along the way. The 12 cities of the Great Han Dynasty, or Huangfu Chao's gift, in addition to the Xiaoran, completely surrounded by the Great Yuan Dynasty. Open up the territory. Do not want to take food from the mouth of the Great Yuan Dynasty. Joke. Great Han has just that little bit of heritage. What can it take to fight with Great Yuan? Chuetai sneered. This is Chuetai, right? I remember Mu Chen's letter said that you had already lost to his grandson. When you bet with him on the 9/5 island, what? You still don't think it's enough? Shangwen Trace smiled faintly. "Hey, what did you say?" Chuati's eyes glared angrily. "Oh, looks like I was wrong." Shangwen Trace laughed. "HMPH. Last time it was Gu Hai who had evil luck. Huang Fu Chao sent him 12 cities before he got his luck to come down. Would the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty send them now? Capture the cities from the hands of the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty. Joke. If I really seize it, I'll admit to being Mu Chen's grandson," Chuatai said in a cold voice. Boom. Steeply, there was a churning of qi over Chaoguo City, and from the west a strand of qi quickly converged and headed straight over the sea of qi clouds. All the people raised their heads, revealing stunned expressions. "That's the direction of King Lu City. The Emperor has recaptured King Lu City," an official instantly shouted with joy. Chuatai.